In the heart of Eastern Europe lies a nation whose fertile lands and untapped depths hold a treasure trove of resources. Ukraine, known by many as the breadbasket of Europe, thanks to its vast and fertile farmlands. Ukraine isn't just rich in wheat and corn. Below its soil lies a jackpot of minerals and raw materials so valuable, they'd make any world leader sit up straight. What's hidden here exactly? And why might someone like Donald Trump, or any geopolitically ambitious figure, be desperate to get a piece of it? To understand the answer, let's start with the minerals themselves. Ukraine has something many nations would envy: a staggering array of natural resources. The country is sitting on one of the largest reserves of iron ore in the world, estimated at 27 billion tons. This isn't just significant, it's monumental. Iron ore is a key component for producing steel and the backbone of modern infrastructure, from bridges and skyscrapers to railroads and vehicles. For any nation aiming to dominate industrially, this much iron ore is like striking gold, or, well, iron. Ukraine is also exceptionally rich in manganese, graphite, and titanium. Manganese? Not exactly a household name, but it's a critical material for producing stainless steel and is vital in battery technology. And let's talk about graphite. Ukraine boasts the second largest reserves of graphite in the world. Why is that important? Because graphite is indispensable in lithium-ion batteries, the power source driving nearly every electric vehicle on the planet. In a world moving toward clean energy and an electric future, owning a large supply of graphite is like holding the keys to tomorrow's economy. Then there's titanium, a metal that's lightweight, strong, and highly resistant to corrosion. It's a favorite for aerospace, military, and medical applications. And Ukraine has not only major reserves of titanium ore, but also the infrastructure to process it into high-grade material. Think of fighter jets, spacecraft, and even advanced prosthetic devices all relying on titanium. Controlling a supply like this isn't just about economics. It's about power on the global stage. And we haven't even touched on uranium. Yes, Ukraine has uranium too, and plenty of it! As the world debates the future of energy, nuclear power remains a key player. That makes uranium deposits a strategic asset for any country thinking long-term about its energy independence. Now let's pull back and look at the bigger picture. Ukraine's mineral wealth isn't just vast. It's overwhelmingly concentrated in areas like the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. These regions have been at the center of armed conflict and international disputes for years. These regions hold not only some of Ukraine's richest deposits, but also pipelines for transporting oil and gas from Russia to Europe. In other words, they're critical pieces in the geopolitical chess game. So what does this have to do with Donald Trump? Well, let's shift to the political arena. During his presidency, Trump consistently expressed a strong interest in Ukraine, not just in terms of political maneuvers, but also business. You might remember the 2019 impeachment inquiry, where a controversial phone call to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made headlines. Trump reportedly pressured Zelensky to investigate his political opponents, holding military aid as leverage. But what went less discussed was Ukraine's vast economic and resource potential, a reality that big players in global politics, including Trump, undoubtedly understand. Now, imagine you're a businessman and a politician like Trump. You're adept at viewing international relations through the lens of opportunity. Ukraine's resources represent a jackpot for any nation or corporation looking to gain strategic leverage. Securing access to Ukraine's graphite could mean a dominating position in the electric vehicle market. Gaining control over its titanium could give you an edge in the aerospace and defense industries. And let's not forget uranium and iron ore, both critical for energy independence and industrial growth. For Trump, whose political strategy often leaned toward bolstering U.S. energy and manufacturing industries, Ukraine's mineral wealth could represent a way to rejuvenate both. If these resources were accessible to American companies, or let's say, strategically controlled by allies, they'd offer a massive advantage in reshaping the global supply chain. After all, many of these critical minerals are currently sourced from nations like China, countries the U.S. often finds itself in competition with. Securing an alternate supply chain in a country like Ukraine could shift that balance of power. But there's another twist. Global influence isn't only about direct control of resources. it's also about denying them to your geopolitical opponents. And here's the kicker. Ukraine's minerals are just as enticing to rival powers like China and Russia. For countries like China and Russia, gaining access to these resources isn't just a business opportunity, it's a strategic necessity. In the battle for influence, controlling these minerals could tip the scales in favor of whoever holds them. In fact, while Russia's interest in Ukraine is often framed in terms of historical and cultural ties, its economic motivations are unmistakable. Control over eastern Ukraine's industrial hubs and mining regions would solidify Russia's dominance in critical resource markets. Meanwhile, China has already been making moves, signing agreements to explore Ukraine's rare earth minerals and boost investments in its mining sector. For Trump, or any U.S. leader looking to push back against these adversaries, keeping Ukraine aligned with Western interests isn't just about politics, it's about safeguarding access to the resources of the future. This could explain why Trump, and others before and after him, have taken such a keen interest in Ukraine, often blending economic, military, and political strategies. But here's where things get messy. Playing this kind of global game often leaves Ukraine itself caught in the crossfire, something its people know all too well. As the nation struggles to defend its sovereignty against Russian aggression and stave off economic exploitation, it also faces the challenge of ensuring that its own resources benefit its citizens, not just foreign powers or oligarchs. For Ukraine, its mineral wealth is both a blessing and a curse, a ticket to potential economic growth, but also a magnet for external pressures and conflicts. As Ukraine stands at the crossroads of history, one thing is clear: the ground beneath its feet is more valuable and more contested than ever before. So why would someone like Trump be desperate for Ukraine's minerals? It's not just about the minerals themselves, it's about what they represent. Power, leverage, the ability to shape industries, economies, and geopolitical dynamics for decades to come. And whether it's Trump, Putin, or any other global leader, Ukraine's resources will continue to be a focal point in the battle for influence on the world stage. In the end, Ukraine's story isn't just about iron, graphite, or titanium. It's a story of how resources shape nations and drive global politics. And while the minerals beneath its soil hold incredible promise, they also serve as a reminder of the costs that come with such wealth in an interconnected, competitive world. As Ukraine stands at the crossroads of history, one thing is clear: the ground beneath its feet is more valuable and more contested than ever before.